Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the tavern. So, very glad you could all join me again this evening. Settle in, we are doing Harry Potter tonight. Alright, let's see who all we have in. Jessica, good evening, welcome in. Hello, hello. Matty, hello. Erin, hello. It seems like Erin is a little bit on the drinky there. Milu, hello, love. Good to see you. Molly Sue, hello. Welcome in. Teresa, I saw that you're here. You guys talking about your partying. All right. Frost, hello. Welcome in, brother. All right. Let me get Matty a toot on the raid horn for raiding in, and then we will resume. It's looking like it. The drive, unfortunately, is completely dead. We've lost the drive. It was a 2 terabyte internal drive, and it is completely gone. And unfortunately, we lost a lot of old episodes, a lot of old pictures, and a lot of old just things that we've made were on the drive. Some of them I have backed up. Some of them I don't have backed up because that was the backup drive. So it's the dangers of the digital era, right? Let's give Matty a toot on his raid horn. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome in, everyone. So very glad to have you. Ready, my friend. Thank you for the goats over on TikTok. I deeply appreciate it. Tips to the Tavern Keeper, always appreciated. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Mary Beth, hello, welcome in. Sage, you said help. I'm still in editing hell. Too many words. Well, you are a wordy man, from what I understand. So you've got you are in what literary individuals would refer to as a hell of your own making. Yes. I brought the tipsy gal again. That's all right. As long as she's safe, that's all good. But yeah, I'm likely going to move in the coming months. It's bound to happen. Oops, forgot to turn off couch. No, you're just very passionate about it, Milu. Very passionate about not moving. You brought two tipsy. Who's is Milu tipsy or is Molly tipsy? I'm not tipsy. I've had one glass of wine after dinner. Oh, I see. Yeah, moving can be terrible. I've moved quite a bit in my life. I've moved more often than I've lived in one place. No, Milu is just ecstatic. So you're high on life then. High on the essence of the situation. I'm getting sick of the discrimination I'm experiencing at my home. Well, then it is definitely a fair prospect to want to leave then, Matty. You can't control what other people do, you can only control what you do. So if the people are being unkind, the best you can really do is just not be around them anymore. It's unfortunate, but that's really the most peaceful way to go. Kelsey, hello, good to see you. Welcome in. I'm so glad that you could join us. Grab your seat. Fill your mug. It's time. What news did Milo get? I missed it. It must have scrolled by me. I am folding laundry. Oh, the worst part of doing laundry. It should come out of the dryer folded. Saturday night. Tomorrow is early to take the kids. No more chemo! Hey! That is in fact good news. Congratulations. Well done. See, that's the power of the human heart, yeah? Bookism is the greatest crime to author. As fair, Sage. I get a break after 5 years of treatment. I get a break and only need to go back if, and she said, if the scans say it's back. That's wonderful. That's such good news. I cannot imagine a better note to start Storytime off with this fine evening. Well done. I'm working on 2 stories right now. Both are trying to get their story out, so that's fun at times. 2 stories, 2 worlds to build. It is difficult. You have to really focus down when you're writing. It's hard. I've already put it off for a week. Well, then yeah, now's probably the best time. There's no better time than now, right? I am high on life right now. That is this Milu over on Twitch. She's been going through cancer treatments for some time now, and got the 99% all clear today. Got a few more tests to make to be certain, but the doctor seems hopeful from what I'm being told, and she won't have to go back for any more chemo after today, and we're all gonna keep prayers up, fingers crossed, for the absolute best possible outcome for all of that. I mean, my viewers voted me to edit Berry's second book while starting my demigod stories, so yay. Also, I sold a car. More good news. Congratulations, Erin. I'm happy that work is going well, because you were having a slow month. So I'm glad to hear that it's going better. All right, friends. Well, I like to start off with good news, so that's nice. Well, friends, what do you say then? People only have 1 to 3. That's rough in car sales. When it's slow, there are a few slow seasons, slow months, and you have to be really, really frugal during the slow car sales months. Hey, that's pretty good. That's still slow for a dealership, but that's pretty good. Sage, you said, but I do have some news. Finally heard something about my little brother after he ran off and vanished for the last 6 years. His bug shot again. Well, I guess somebody good news alive, bad news not doing so well, but that is news. I found out that the principal of the school I worked at published a book. I bought it. That's wonderful. Is it any good? I know this it's sort of an insensitive question to ask, but I know lots of people who write books. I am always interested if anybody knows people who write good books, because good books are so rare these days. You know what? I forgot to turn on the cooler, and I'm melting over here. Started listening to it today. It's different. That could be a compliment, could not be. It's a very careful word you chose, Kelsey. I appreciate I appreciate the caution in that. Still trying to figure it out. All right, fair enough. CT every 12 weeks, still getting the bones building infusion to help fix the holes left behind from where it was. I have to say, ladies, check your chest lumps for lumps. That's where this mess started. Absolutely. You should always check problem areas and just take care of yourself overall. You only get one body, friends. You only get one. Take care of it. Eat well, exercise, sleep well, stay hydrated. Check it if there's anything wrong. Consult with somebody who will know better than you. I'm stuck at 8, having 1 going tomorrow, so I'm doing, yeah, that is pretty good, Aaron. But I'm stuck between my Viking story of my ancient Greek story, so would you like to go over them once I've outlined them so I can tweak them where needed before I write them on stream? I think the better question is, Matty, would you like me to go over them before you do that? BRB, the littlest, needs help with her teeth. My teeth are constantly, I'm losing them all the time. Also, new Bob's on Sunday, first day at the restaurant. Oh, new Bob's Burgers on Sunday. Excellent. See, I don't even have to check to when new episodes come out. Erin just tells me. Dental health is very important. I grew up after I moved to the States. My parents were in destitute poverty, and I had a lot of really bad dental work done as a kid. And then in my teens to 20s, I fought a lot. I was in a lot of fights. I was probably in over 100 fights between 14 and 22. And so I have a bunch of cracked teeth and broken teeth and all of the things. So I, as someone who has very poor dental health, I'm telling all of you, just brush your teeth, floss, take care of them. Because that's another thing, you only get one set of is teeth. Well, you get two, but you really only have the one that you're going to get to appreciate. So take good care of it. I would love you to. It's the grand reopen. Okay, the 300th episode. All right, excellent. Because I want them to be as good as they can, and I trust you. The trust is deeply appreciated, Matty. I'll see what I can do to help. I broke a tooth a couple of weeks ago. My insurance kicks in on the 1st of October. My dad helped me. That's good. Hey, stop it. We also took Boo to the doctor today because he's been a little lethargic, and he's been sick since we got him. Boo's always had a little bit of congestion, and he's been very lethargic and tired recently. So we took him to the doctor today, and we'll see what comes of it. For the most part, he's healthy. He's a healthy weight, healthy temperature, all of the things. He's just got constant runny nose, and he gets tired and falls asleep and then falls off the back of the couch. So I do have an animal named Boo, and it's here. I'll go grab it. We haven't shown him on screen. Come here. We're gonna do some work. No, don't you run away from me. Come here. You haven't worked in ages. Come here. Hey, stop it. This is Boo. He is the lady's cat, and he's called Boo because he was rescued from a graveyard. He was outside of a graveyard where he was sleeping near his dead siblings. So the people who rescued him called him Boo. And he's even got a little bit of an ear missing. His right ear, he's missing the whole top of it. Kelsey, wait, is Kelsey on Twitch the same Kelsey that is on TikTok, or do we have two Kelseys in the tavern? Yeah, he's not very pleased right now. He's already grumpy. He fell asleep in the car on the way back home from the vet. He was very grumpy about having to go out. Two Kelseys, that's interesting. Now they say, so we have Kelsey on Twitch and we have Kelsey on TikTok. Excellent. Some of you will watch on two platforms at once, or will go back and forth between because there are your friends on the different portals. So I just realised that K-Babe over on Twitch, who is called Kelsey, and you were on at the same time, Kelsey H over on TikTok. So I was like, wait a minute, is that the same Kelsey? Kelsey on TikTok says, hi, other Kelsey. But yeah, this is Boo. He's a grumpy butt. And he constantly has a runny nose. All right, you're good. You can go. He's just waiting to get out of here. Your last name starts with an H too? That's very funny. So we have two Kelsey H's. I couldn't differentiate between the two of you then, since I'm only privy to names. That is a very funny coincidence. See, the tavern has all kinds of magic, doesn't it? Ah. I hope he feels better too, and he should. That's why we went and had him looked at, because we've been managing his congestion. I figured he just had a chronic bacteria in there. Because it's not uncommon in cats, especially ones that are brought up in really dirty houses. Milo is great. Milo is a menace. We can say hi to Coda too, since he's up and about. Come here, boy. Come say hello. Up, up. Up, up. Come, up, up. There he is. Big handsome boy. Big doofus. It's been hot, so he's been chewing on his own butt. Because he's got that big double fur coat. And it gets hot here. I'm happy being the only Erin. Yeah, there's actually a really beautiful song that I like a lot called The Rebel Sons of Erin. And it's about young Irishmen who left home during the famine and came to the United States during the Civil War. And they were forced into conscription. And there's a whole song called The Rebel Sons of Erin, and it's a really beautiful song. I like it a lot. If your middle name starts with R, I'm going to start to wonder, Other Kelsey. So, Other Kelsey, does your middle name start with an R? Kelsey on Twitch. So, Erin is sort of means Ireland. Erin means home. Era or Eri is the... Nope, it's an L. All right, there you go. So it's R and L. That's not terribly close. So you guys good. You got a nice little split there. But Erin means home. And Era, E-I-R-E, or Erie, means Ireland. That is the name of Ireland. Erin is sort of an active version of it. So we say Erin go bra, right? Erin go bra means all things go home. All things belong to Ireland is essentially what it means. Kristalla, hello, welcome in. Good to see you. Thank you, Frost. Let's go ahead. We're gonna run ads on Twitch real quick so that we have an hour without them, and then we'll start story time for the 9. I was waffling for a bit so that Bear could make it in. I didn't see him drop in, but I'm sure he'll be here soon. I'll go tag everybody too, since I said I would do that. Sword Talk, hello! Get a good stretch. Oh, love the animal friends. Yeah, the lady is a bleeding heart for the animals. Well, since we're running ads on Twitch, I'll go see if I can grab Milo too. He should be snapping someone. He's a little bit easier to grab. Oh, come on. Oh. Oh. Here is Milo. He's getting huge. He's absolutely massive. He's an absolute specimen and a unit, this one is. And he he is not getting any smarter, unfortunately. We had hoped that he might be the smart one, but unfortunately that's not happening. he full on ran square into my leg. He was trying to run out through the door and I blocked him with my leg. Rather than slowing down, he just full on dived into my ankle. And he nearly knocked himself out. He ran so hard into my leg. He's a beautiful cat. Yeah, he's a Bengal. And he's very pretty. He's got very nice fur. He's got a very good bone structure. But yeah, sadly, look at him. Look at his face. Look at his dumb little face. He's got no brains in there. No brains between the eyes. And he's about as graceful as a rock falling off a shelf, that one. Ads are over. Thank you, Frost. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate you. Tonks, hello. Good to see you. He's adorable, but he's about as bright as a broken bulb. Leave him alone. He's not doing anything. Leave him alone. He's fine. Leave him alone. He's good. All right. Yeah, I can't believe he's only 6 months old. He's gonna keep growing. Bethany, hello. The bear, hello, my friend. Rabbit and I have just left the tiny town of Gunning in New South Wales. Best coffee on the Hume Highway. Excellent, my friend. Oh, that's right. I forgot that you were out and about, brother. Well, I'm glad that you're all right. I'm glad that you and Rabbits are enjoying yourselves. And you've not missed anything, Bethany. We just ran ads, and now we are all well and good. Oh, yeah, I'd imagine. Very stressful day for him. Well, take Dummy. Here, snuggles you. Marina, hello, welcome in. Thank you for 15 months. Enjoy your mead of the Morning Star there. Thank you kindly. Tips to the tavern keeper always appreciated. You still owe Bear an emotional support moose. I don't even want to know what the agreement was there. That's a very odd thing to owe somebody, Matty. Yeah, I forgot to put out the notification. We've been on and waffling for a bit, but I was waiting for as many of the. I always try to wait for as many of the regulars to get in as possible before I start reading. Marina, thank you kindly. Tips of the tavern keeper always appreciated. Thank you so much for that. Cheers. Enjoy your eggs of a starter there. I would like to know also how Matty is going to get a moose to bear. The shipping on that's going to be astronomical. He'd be better off shipping himself to the bear. Waffle, waffle, waffle. Alright, friends, let us begin. For anyone who is new, we are reading Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I don't know if I have this over on... Do I? No, not that one. Ah, I do! Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows over on TikTok. There you go. I have to give to a wonderful tavern. You fill my heart. Thank you so much. Well, let me get into reading for you then. Are you driving tonight, Marina, or are you stationary for the time being? I've got the first Harry Potter movie. Have you seen the first Harry Potter movie, though? Yeah, moose are frightening. If you've never been around moose are very terrifying creatures. It's like, until you see them in person, you don't realize how big some animals are. First time I saw a moose, a bison, and a polar bear, I was baffled. I was absolutely befuddled. My fuddled was bead all the way across the board at how big these animals are. Like, bison are massive. Bison are as big as some cars. Like, if you're talking about American cars, they're as big as some American cars, but you have bison that are as big as most European cars. Moose kill more people in Canada than just about any other animal. Yeah, the moose is the natural predator of the Canadian. I bet you guys didn't know that. I've seen a moose before. They are titanic. Yeah, no thanks. And polar bears are absolutely gargantuan. Polar bears are so big. Moose are from Winnipeg. When I saw one, I didn't see it because it was just a wall next to the truck. I am from Winnipeg. No, I have to get up at 2 a.m, so I'll be snoozing before you finish tonight. Well, wonderful. I hope that you rest well. Hang on, I missed what Bear said there. Hang on. I was mentioning that having my wife and mom in the same place was doing my head in. The older Rabbits gets, the more like my mother she becomes. Not her mom, mine. Well, they say you marry your parents, right? Like they say you marry your mom, or you marry your dad. So seems about right. First time I saw a moose, he had a little squirrel body. Yeah, I do think it's kind of funny when those bigger animals have like pilot fish animals that come with them. There are birds that rides on the back of bison. It used to be a joke in like American Western comics that there would always be a little bird on the back of a bison. I may dip out and go back to reading Iron Flame. I've gone months between reading it, and now I'm just permanently confused about what's going on in it. You really do have to put in focus when you're reading a book, because sometimes there have been a few books where I got them, I read a few chapters, then I put them down, and then when I picked them back up, first of all, I don't remember why I stopped reading them, and second, yeah, you're completely lost. You have no idea what's going on. Bobby, good evening, Harry Potter. So I will listen tonight. Spectacular. I'm so glad that you're in. It's good to see you. All right. All right. Let us begin. Chapter 3 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. The Dursleys departing. The sound of the front door slamming echoed up the stairs, and a voice yelled, "Oi, you!" 16 years of being addressed thus left Harry in no doubt whom his uncle was calling. Nevertheless, he did not immediately respond. He was still gazing at the mirror fragment in which, for a split second, he had thought he'd seen Dumbledore's eyes. It was not until his uncle bellowed, "Oi!" that he got slowly to his feet and headed for the bedroom door, pausing to add the piece of broken mirror to the rucksack filled with things he would be taking with him. "You took your time," roared Vernon Dursley when Harry appeared at the top of the stairs. "Get down here! I want a word!" Harry strolled downstairs, his hands deep in his jeans pockets. When he reached the living room, he found all three Dursleys were dressed for travelling. Uncle Vernon in a fawn zip-up jacket, Aunt Petunia in a neat salmon-coloured coat, and Dudley, Harry's large, blonde, muscular cousin, in his leather jacket. "Yes?" asked Harry. "Sit down," said Uncle Vernon. Harry raised his eyebrows. "Please," added Uncle Vernon, wincing slightly as though the word was sharp in his throat. Harry sat. He thought he knew what was coming. His uncle began to pace up and down, and Aunt Petunia and Dudley followed his movements with anxious expressions. Finally, his purple face crumpled with concentration. Uncle Vernon stopped in front of Harry and spoke. "I've changed my mind," he said. "What a surprise," said Harry.
Don't take that tone,"
began Aunt Petunia in a shrill voice, but Vernon Dursley waved her down. "It's all a lot of claptrap," said Uncle Vernon, glaring at Harry with piggy little eyes. "I decided. I don't believe a word of it. We're staying put. We're not going anywhere." Harry looked up at his uncle and felt a mixture of exasperation and amusement. Vernon Dursley had been changing his mind every 24 hours for the past 4 weeks, packing and unpacking, repacking the car with every change of heart. Harry's favourite moment had been the one when Uncle Vernon, unaware that Dudley had added his dumbbells into the case since the last time it had been unpacked, had attempted to hoist it back into the boot and collapsed in roars of pain and much swearing. "According to you," Vernon Dursley said, now resuming his pacing up and down the living room, "we, Petunia, Dudley and I, are in danger from...
"Some of my lot, right,"
said Harry. "Well, I don't believe it," repeated Uncle Vernon, coming to a halt in front of Harry again. "I was awake half the night thinking it all over, and I believe it's a plot to get the house."
"The house?"
repeated Harry.
"What house?"
"This house!" shrieked Uncle Vernon, the vein in his forehead starting to pulse. "Our house! House prices are skyrocketing around here. You want us out of the way, and then you're going to do a bit of hocus pocus. Before we know it, the deeds will be in your name and..."
"Are you out of your mind?"
demanded Harry.
"A plot to get this house? Are you actually stupid as you look?"
"Don't you dare!"
squealed Aunt Petunia again, but Vernon waved her down. Slights on his personal appearance were, it seemed, as nothing to the danger he had spotted.
"Just in case you've forgotten," said Harry, "I've already got a house. My godfather left me one. So why would I want this one? All the happy memories?"
There was silence. Harry thought he'd rather impressed his uncle with his argument. "Your claim," said Uncle Vernon, starting to pace yet again, "to this Lord thing..."
"Voldemort,"
said Harry impatiently.
"And we've been through this about 100 times already. This isn't a claim, it's fact. Dumbledore told you last year, and Kingsley, and Mr. Weasley."
Vernon Dursley hunched his shoulders angrily, and Harry guessed that his uncle was attempting to ward off recollections of the unannounced visit a few days into Harry's summer holiday.
of 2 fully grown wizards. The arrival on the doorstep of Kingsley Shacklebolt and Arthur Weasley had come as a most unpleasant shock to the Dursleys. Harry had to admit, however, that Mr. Weasley had once demolished half the living room. His reappearance could not have been expected to delight Uncle Vernon. Kingsley and Mr. Weasley explained it as well, Harry pressed on remorselessly. Once I'm 17, the protective charm that keeps me safe will break, and will expose you as well. The Order is sure Voldemort will target you, whether to torture you to try and find out where I am, or because he thinks by holding you hostage I'll come and try to rescue you. Uncle Vernon's and Harry's eyes met. Harry was sure that in that instant they were both wondering the same thing. Then Uncle Vernon walked on and Harry resumed. I've got to go into hiding and the Order wants to help. You're being offered serious protection, the best there is. Uncle Vernon said nothing but continued to pace up and down. Outside, the sun hung low over privet hedges. The next-door neighbour's lawn mower still stalled again. I think it was a Ministry of Magic, said Vernon Dursley abruptly. There is, said Harry, surprised. Well, then, why can't they protect us? It seems to me, as innocent victims, guilty of nothing more than harbouring a marked man, we ought to be qualified for government protection. Harry laughed. He could not help himself. It was so very typical of his uncle to put his hopes in the establishment, even within this world that he despised and mistrust. You heard what Mr. Weasley and Kingsley said, Harry replied. We think the Ministry has been infiltrated. Uncle Vernon strode to the fireplace and back, breathing so heavily that his great black moustache rippled, his face still purple with concentration. All right, he said, stopping in front of Harry yet again. All right, let's say that, for sake of argument, we accept this protection. I still don't see why we can't have that Kingsley bloke. Harry managed not to roll his eyes, but with difficulty, this question had been addressed half a dozen times. As I've told you, he said through gritted teeth, Kingsley is protecting your Prime Minister. Exactly. He's the best, said Uncle Vernon, pointing at the blank television screen. The Dursleys had spotted Kingsley on the news, walking along discreetly behind the Muggle Prime Minister as he visited a hospital. This, and the fact that Kingsley had mastered the knack for dressing like a Muggle, not to mention certain reassuring something in his slow, deep voice, had caused the Dursleys to take to Kingsley in a way that they had certainly not done with any other wizard, although it was true that he had never seen him without his earrings. Never seen him with his earring in. Well, he's taken, said Harry. But Hestia Jones and Daedalus Diggle are more than up to the job. If we've even seen CVs, began Uncle Vernon. But Harry had lost his patience. Getting to his feet, he advanced on his uncle, now pointing at the TV set himself. These accidents aren't accidents. The crashes and explosions and derailments and whatever else has happened since we last watched the news. People are disappearing and dying and he's behind it. Voldemort. I've told you this over and over again. He kills muggles for fun. Even the fogs. They're caused by Dementors. And if you can't remember what they are, ask your son. Dudley's hands jerked up towards to cover his mouth. With his parents and Harry's eyes upon him, he slowly lowered them again and said, There were more at him. More? Laughed Harry. More than the two that attacked us, you mean? Of course there are. There are hundreds, maybe thousands of them by this time, seeing as they feed on fear and despair. All right, blustered Vernon Dursley. You made your point. I hope so, said Harry. Because once I'm 17, all of them, Death Eaters, Dementors, maybe even Inferi, which means dead bodies enchanted by dark wizards,
will all be able to find you and will certainly attack you. And if you remember the last time you tried to outrun Wizard, I think you'll agree you need help. There was a brief silence in which the distant echo of Hagrid smashing down the wooden front door seemed to reverberate through the intervening years. And Petunia was looking at Uncle Vernon. Dudley was staring at Harry. Finally, Uncle Vernon blurted out, "But what about my work? What about Dudley's school? I don't suppose those things matter much to a bunch of layabout wizards." "Don't you understand?" shouted Harry. "They will torture and kill you like they did my parents." "Dad," said Dudley in a loud voice, "Dad, I'm going with these order people." "Dudley," said Harry, "for the first time in your life you're talking sense." He knew that the battle was won. If Dudley was frightened enough to accept the order's help, his parents would accompany him. There could be no question of being separated from their Didykins. Harry glanced at the carriage clock on the mantelpiece. "They'll be here in 5 minutes," he said, and when none of the Dursleys replied, he left the room. The prospect of parting, probably forever, from his aunt and uncle and cousin was one that he was able to contemplate quite carefully and cheerfully, but there was nevertheless a certain awkwardness in the air. What did you say to one another at the end of 16 years of solid dislike? Back in his bedroom, Harry fiddled aimlessly with his rucksack, then poked a couple of owl nuts through the bars of Hedwig's cage. They fell with dull thuds to the bottom, and she ignored them. "We're leaving soon, really soon," Harry told her. "And then you'll be able to fly again." The doorbell rang. Harry hesitated and then headed back out of his room and down the stairs. It was too much to expect Hestia and Daedalus to cope with the Dursleys on their own.
Harry Potter!
Squeaked an excited voice. The moment Harry opened the door, a small man in a mauve top hat was sweeping him a deep bow.
An honour as ever.
"Thanks, Daedalus," he said, bestowing a small and embarrassed smile upon the dark-haired Hestia. "It's really good of you to do this. They're through there, my aunt and uncle and cousin."
Good day to you, Harry Potter's relatives,
said Daedalus, happily striding into the living room. The Dursleys did not look at all happy to be addressed thus. Harry half expected another change of mind. Dudley shrank nearer to his mother at the sight of the witch and wizard.
"I see all packed and ready. Excellent. The plan, as Harry has told you, is a simple one,"
said Daedalus, pulling an immense pocket watch out of his waistcoat and examining it.
"We shall be leaving before Harry does, due to the danger of using magic at your house. Harry, being still underage, it could provide the Ministry an excuse to arrest him. We shall be driving, say, 10 miles or so before disapparating to a safe location we have picked out for you. You know how to drive, I take it?"
he asked Uncle Vernon politely.
Know how to... Of course our rotting won't know how to drive,
spluttered Uncle Vernon.
"Very clever of you, sir, very clever. I, personally, would be utterly bamboozled by all those buttons and knobs,"
said Daedalus. He was very clearly under the impression that he was flattering flattering Vernon Dursley, who was visibly losing confidence in the plan with every word that Daedalus spoke. "Mike, Rogwolf, hello! Kayla, hello, welcome in. So very glad that you could join us. Welcome, welcome." Let's see. Rocky and Bullwinkle is wonderful. I don't know what you're talking about, Bear, but I love Rocky and Bullwinkle. Been listening to the Dead Tired series about Skeleton Necromancer and his limpet. Interesting. Hello, everyone. Popping in for a minute to say I'll be back in after I help a co-worker get his toolbox loaded up. He's leaving the shop for a better job opportunity. Spectacular. Good for him. Kristalla says, good luck. Yes, good luck. Moving toolboxes is a hell of a thing. Marina, thank you again for the 1,000 bits, more eggs of a starter for you. Thank you kindly. Tips to the tavern keeper are never required, but always appreciated. You're filling the coffers of the tavern all on your own. Thank you kindly, love. Dr. Susan, hello. And Rogue Wolf and Mike, it's good to see you both as well. Settle in, fill your seats. Thanks for the story, lurking the rest of the night. Rest well, Marina, and I hope that you wake tomorrow ready to conquer the day. And I hope that your sleep and your rest are fulfilling and full and complete. Thank you so much, and I'm so glad that you're here. It's good to see you back in regularly now. Cheers, my friends. Alright, let us continue. It looks like I caught all of the... Where did the combo started? You have 1 minute left. What did these Marina started a 20 heart combo. Thank you. Thank you, Marina. I appreciate you, love. And Dr. Susan, very good to see you. I'm glad you joined us this evening. Your regular seat is open. Go ahead and grab it. Let's see, where was I? Can't even drive, he muttered under his breath, his mustache rippling indignantly. But fortunately, neither Daedalus nor Hestia seemed to hear him.
You, Harry,
Daedalus continued.
will wait here for your guard. There has been a little change in the arrangements.
What do you mean? Said Harry at once. I thought Mad-Eye was going to come and take me by sidelong operation. Can't do it, said Hestia tersely. Mad-Eye will explain. The Dursleys, who had to listen to all of this with looks of utter incomprehension on their faces, jumped as a loud voice screeched, "Hurry up!" Oh, wait, hang on, this is supposed to be... Yeah, this is supposed to be Mad-Eye. Hurry up! Harry looked all around the room before realizing that the voice had issued from Daedalus's pocket.
Quite right. We're operating on a very tight schedule,
said Daedalus, nodding at his watch and tucking it back into his waistcoat.
We're attempting to time your departure from the house with your family's disapprobation, Harry. Thus, the charm breaks at the moment you're all headed for safety.
He turned to the Dursleys.
Well, are we all packed and ready to go?
None of them answered him, and Uncle Vernon was still staring appalled at the bulge in Daedalus's waistcoat pocket.
Perhaps we should wait outside in the hall, Daedalus,
murmured Hestia. She clearly felt that it would be tactless for them to remain in the room while Harry and the Dursleys exchanged loving, possibly tearful farewells. There's no need, Harry muttered, but Uncle Vernon made any further explanation unnecessary by saying loudly, "Well, this is a goodbye thing, boy." He swung his right arm upward to shake Harry's hand, but the last moment seemed unable to face it, and merely closed his fists and began swinging it backwards and forwards like a metronome.
Ready, Diddy,
said Aunt Petunia, fussily checking the clasp of her handbag so as to avoid looking at Harry altogether. Dudley did not answer, but stood there with his mouth slightly ajar, reminding Harry a little bit of the giant Grop. "Come along, then," said Uncle Vernon. He had already reached the living room door when Dudley mumbled, I don't understand.
What don't you understand, Pumpkins?
Said Aunt Petunia, looking up at her son. Dudley raised a large ham-like hand and pointed at Harry. Why isn't he coming with us? Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia froze where they stood, staring at Dudley as though he had just expressed the desire to become a ballerina. What? Said Uncle Vernon loudly. Why isn't he coming too? Asked Dudley. Well, he doesn't want to, said Uncle Vernon, turning to glare at Harry and nodding. You don't want to, do you? Not in the slightest, said Harry.
There you are, Uncle Vernon told Dudley. Now come on, we're off.
He marched out of the room. They heard the front door open, but Dudley did not move, and after a few faltering steps, Aunt Petunia stopped too.
What the hell?
Barked Uncle Vernon, reappearing in the doorway. It seemed that Dudley was struggling with concepts too difficult to put to words. After several moments, of apparently painful internal struggle, he said, "But where are he going to go?" Aunt Petunia and Uncle Vernon looked at each other. It was clear that Dudley was frightening them. Hestia Jones broke the silence.
But surely you know where your nephew's going?
She asked, looking bewildered.
But certainly we know, said Vernon Dursley. He's off with some of your lot, isn't he? Right, Dudley, let's get in the car. You heard the man. We're in a hurry.
Again, Vernon Dursley marched as far as the front door, but Dudley did not follow.
Or for some of our lot?
Hestia looked outraged. Harry had met this attitude before. Witches and wizards seemed stunned that his closest living relatives took so little interest in the famous Harry Potter. It's fine, Harry assured her. It doesn't matter, honestly.
Doesn't matter?
Repeated Hestia, her voice rising ominously.
Don't these people realize what you've been through? The danger you're in? The unique position you hold in the hearts of the anti-Voldemort movement?
No, they don't, said Harry. They think I'm a waste of space, actually, but I'm used to it. I don't think you're a waste of space. If Harry had not seen Dudley's lips move, he might not have believed it. As it was, he stared at Dudley for several seconds before accepting that it must have been his cousin who had spoken. For one thing, Dudley had turned red and was embarrassed and astonished himself. Well, thanks, Dudley. Again, Dudley appeared to grapple with the thoughts too unwieldy for his expression before mumbling, You saved my life. Not really, said Harry. It was your soul the Dementor would have taken. He looked curiously at his cousin. They had had virtually no contact during this summer or last. As Harry had come back to Privet Drive so briefly and kept to his room so much, it now dawned on Harry, however, that the cup of cold tea on which he had trodden that morning might have not been a booby trap at all. Although rather touched, he was nevertheless quite relieved that Dudley appeared to have exhausted his ability to express his feelings. After opening his mouth once or twice more, Dudley subsided into scarlet-faced silence. Aunt Petunia burst into tears. Hestia Jones gave her an approving look that changed to outrage as Aunt Petunia ran forward and embraced Dudley rather than Harry.
So sweet, Dudders.
She sobbed into his massive chest.
Such a lovely boy, saying thank you. But he hasn't said thank you at all, said Hestia indignant. He only said that he didn't think Harry was a waste of space.
Yeah, but from Dudley, that's like, I love you, said Harry, torn between annoyance and desire to laugh, as Aunt Petunia continued to clutch at Dudley, as if he had just saved Harry from a burning building.
Are we going or not?
Roared Uncle Vernon, reappearing yet again at the living room door.
I thought we were on a tight schedule.
Yes, we are,
said Daedalus Diggle, who had been watching these exchanges with an air of bemusement and now seemed to pull himself together.
We really must be off, Harry.
He tripped forward and wrung Harry's hand with both of his.
Good luck. I hope we meet again. The hopes of the wizarding world rest on your shoulders.
Oh, said Harry. Yeah, right. Thanks.
Farewell, Harry,
said Hestia, also clasping his hand.
Our thoughts go with you.
I hope everything's okay, said Harry with a glance toward Aunt Petunia and Dudley.
Oh, I'm sure we'll end up the best of chums,
said Diggle brightly, waving his hat, and as he left the room, Hestia followed him.
Dudley gently released himself from his mother's clutches, walked towards Harry, who had to repress the urge to threaten him with magic, and then Dudley held out his large pink hand. "Blimey, Dudley," said Harry over Aunt Petunia's renewed sobs. "Did the Dementor blow a different personality into you?" "Don't know," said Dudley. "See you, Harry." "Yeah," said Harry, taking Dudley's hand and shaking it. "Maybe. Take care, Big D." Dudley nearly smiled and then lumbered from the room. Harry heard his heavy footfalls on the gravel drive, and then a car door slammed. Aunt Petunia, whose face had been buried in her handkerchief, looked around at the sound. She did not seem to have expected to find herself alone with Harry. Hastily stowing her wet handkerchief in her pocket, she said,
"Well, goodbye,"
and marched towards the door without looking at him. "Goodbye," said Harry. She stopped and looked back. For a moment, Harry had the strangest feeling that she wanted to say something to him. She gave him an odd and tremulous look and seemed to teeter on the edge of speech. But then, with a little jerk of her head, she bustled out of the room after her husband and son. Be Real, thank you for the follow over on TikTok. Welcome to the tavern. You've marked us on your map. You should be able to find your way back the very next time you seek a story. And my friends, that is the end of Chapter 3 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Destiny, welcome in, love. Good to see you. Hello, hello. Yep, it's already the end. I didn't interrupt myself a bunch, so we ended up with a pretty solid chapter, and that was actually a fairly fast chapter. It was not very long. So what do we think, friends? Do we want another chapter? We're gonna do another one. Yeah, I need to go and tell him to cool his jets. It's being too loud. I have 6% to say what's up, Poke Rap, and hop off in a moment. Hello, Wesley. Good to see you. Yes, another chapter, please. All right. I'm going to run another set of ads over on Twitch so we get another free hour. And then we'll do chapter 4. Do we want to do songs in between, or do we just want to go straight to another chapter? I'm going to pop up and go check on the lady and stretch real quick. And then I will be right back. And you guys can let me know what you'd like to do. I'll be right back, okay?
The chair is actually the real star of the show, if we're being perfectly honest. Lorraine, hello, good to see you. Welcome in. Crystal, hello, good to see you as well. Serious request though, Tale of the Shadow if we do songs. Quirt, hello. Twitch didn't notify me. You missed a whole chapter, Quirt. We're doing well, brother. Good to see you in. Devin, I entered the tavern for the first time to see what appears to be a most hairy chair, single-handedly entertaining 14 people, a feat that deserves respect. Yeah, again, the chair is actually the star of the show. I'm just here for set dressing, if you will. And there he is, grab a drink and settle in. Indeed, anyone with a sword is a barkeep, so they will keep you happy and entertained, I believe. The Beatrice informed me that we thusly need to talk. Destiny, are you experiencing some tumult today? Or this week, rather, so it seems. I read that your magic box is dying. Do you require any assistance aside from monetary support to replace said magic box? Brought quite a few magic boxes back that I do appreciate the offer. We actually, the magic box that was dying did die, and we managed to replace it. Thankfully, we were blessed to have enough set aside that we were able to build a new one. Now, see, so the magic box that the lady uses, she's the one who creates all of the magic in the tavern. I'm the secondary good looks. And then I have the one that I'm using, and we just had a hard drive take an absolute nosedive on Tuesday, and that was dreadful. Crystal says, all hail the chair. One of my new regulars came in first, started worshipping my chair. I came back from the toilet. See, it's what happens, Matty. Secondary good looks. So the lady is by far the most lovely in all of the tavern, and the chair is next, and then it's me. John will read as soon as I have to go. Rest in peace. I'm sorry, Wesley. You came in at the worst possible time. Cindy, hello. Good to see you. See you later, Wesley. I'm glad you dropped in any case. And Tyson has returned as well. Don't say so. No, don't get me wrong. I am stunning. It is not a measly. I am absolutely breathtaking. But the lady in the chair are definitely far more attractive than I. I am originally from Ireland, so my accent is odd. I Americanize a little bit because most of my audience is American, and everybody in here will tell you that they've been telling me to stop, and it's become more of a habit. When I'm talking to people, I automatically, because I've lived in the States for almost 20 years, but my family have a very unique accent. We're from the Wicklow, Cork, and Limerick area. That's where my family are all from, and then the rest of us are from Norway, north of Oslo. So we have a very unique accent. Alright friends, do we want to just carry on with the next chapter, or would we like to sing a song before we carry on? A potato muncher, the munchiest of potatoers is what we are. A good old-fashioned Mick with a side of Viking in there. Quite literally, our ancestors were the Vikings that raided into Southern Ireland, where my father's family comes from specifically. It's called Wicklow, and Wicklow translates to Meadow of the Vikings. No real requests except for what Matty said, as far as I'm concerned. So it seems like there's quite a few people are wanting songs. So let's see, what can we do? I think we can do Tale of the Shadow. I'm not very good at Tale of the Shadow, but we can do Tale of the Shadow. Why not? Dog. Stop it. Keeps chewing on himself because it's hot and he's got hot spots. Can I have the mermaid? Yeah, we'll do the mermaid song and we'll do Tale of the Shadow. Yeah, Tale of the Shadow is a little bit more of a recent shanty, and it's a favourite of Sir Chatty Matty there. By, what is it, Sail North, or is it The Longest Jaws? I think it's Sail North that does it. We primarily do shanties and ballads of the sort of Irish tradition. Lorraine. That's generally what we do. Though I have done a few others, like I've done long black hair for Bear, and the lady has done Gone to America. So we'll do some other things, but I will say you've been getting better at not Americanizing your accent overall. It's still got to work to do, but your real accent slips out more often now. It's because I'm more comfortable around you lot. We are going to read another chapter, Tyson. We're going to do chapter 4 after we do a couple of songs. Since this is a tavern, do you also do open mic of sorts? And the pregnancy-inducing Valhalla calling, yes indeed. TikTok has a salmon additive for food that helps for that with your dog. See, his food does have salmon in it. The problem is that he's also neurotic. So if he's not getting attention, or if other people are doing the things, he just gnaws on himself. Like we've tried to give him skin treatments and all of the things. He's just a doofus. Stop chewing on yourself, dude. Yeah, he's just not a very bright dog. He's very handsome. Here, we'll have him come. Come here. Come in. Case in point, he backed up. Instead of going forward and coming around, he backed up. full on back up between the couch and the coffee table to get back out up here. Hey, where are you going? I said come here. Come in. Come say hello. Up up. Up up. Come on, up up. There he is. There's the big guy. This is Coda. He's very handsome, as you can see. He's a 90-pound Shepherd Husky mix, pure white. And he's as dumb as a rook. He's got 2 brain cells, and they're fighting for 3rd place. But he's a good boy. He's not a smart boy, but he's a good boy. All right, get out of here. Getting hair all over me. I ask because I do sing and play guitar, and I do have a good mic, and I do love shanties. You know, we could probably do like an open mic night at some point. That'd be all right. He's a handsome boy. He's very handsome. My dog has a 1 brain cell lasting for 5. Oh, David, thank you for the follow. You've now marked this on your map, and you should be able to find your way back the very next time that you seek a story. Just happened to glance out the open window. Should not be open after dark. And the fog is so thick I can't see the porch. You might have dementors on your porch. Destiny, you better be careful. She has 1 green and 1 hazel light. Oh, that's beautiful. Go to mum. Go to mum. Go back. Go to bed. Go. He's upset because he's lonely because there's nobody out here but me. But he's just standing in the middle of the floor whining at the boys' door. Alright, let's go ahead. We'll do the mermaid song first. Now the mermaid song is a song by Great Big Sea. And it is about a man who falls in love with a mermaid. It's a silly song and it's a little bit inappropriate. So if it'll offend your delicate sensibilities, I recommend covering your ears. But otherwise, if you know it, you can join in. When I was a lad in a fishing town, me old man said to me, you can spend your life, your jolly life, just sailing on the sea. You can search the world for pretty girls till your eyes are weak and dim, but don't go searching for a mermaid, son, if you don't know how to swim. 'Cause her hair was green as seaweed, her skin was blue and pale, her face it was a work of art. I loved that girl with all my heart, but I only liked the upper part, I did not like the tail. I signed on to a sailing ship my very first day at sea. I'd seen a mermaid in the waves, reaching out to me. Come live with me in the sea, she said, down on the ocean floor, and I'll show you a million wondrous things you've never seen before. So over I jumped and she pulled me down to her seaweed bed. On a pillow made of tortoise shell she placed beneath my head. She fed me shrimp and caviar upon a silver dish. From her head to her waist she was just my taste, but the rest of her was a fish. 'Cause her hair was green as seaweed, her skin was blue and pale, her face it was a work of art. I loved that girl with all my heart, but I only liked the upper part, I did not like the tail. But then one day she swam away, so I sang to the... So I... Sorry, Bethany, I'm in the main house and my parents just got home. I was reading on the side and I read that and it threw me off, sorry. But then one day she swam away, so I sang to the clams and the whales. Oh, how I miss her seaweed hair and the silver shine of her scales. But then her sister, she swam by and she set my heart a whirl. 'Cause her upper part was an ugly fish, but her bottom part was a girl. Yes, her hair was green as seaweed, her skin was blue and pale, her legs they are a work of art. I love that girl with all my heart. I don't give a damn about the upper part, 'cause that's how I get my tail. There you go. Thank you for the song, friends. Hello, Tyson. And yes, friends, we're going to do one more song and then we're going to go on to the next one. Did I forget to run ads when I got up? I did. Damn it. I'm so dumb. All right. I'm going to run ads while we do the next song. And then that way when we're done, we won't have any. We won't have any ads for an hour that way. I apologize, friends. I was supposed to do that when I got up and I forgot. I'm the worst. I apologize. Sorry, guys. Twitch makes me run these. I'd rather not, but... Castle, have you seen my streams chat? Inappropriate doesn't bother me. I have seen some of what goes on in your chat. Yes, Matty. It is bordering on a civil liberties crime going in there sometimes. But it's all right. And I've seen. It is. It's definitely not family friendly. All right, we're gonna run one over on Twitch, and we'll be right back. We'll do Tale of the Shadow while this is running, though. All right, so we're gonna do the Tale of the Shadow lyrics. Again, I'm not very good at this one. It's a little bit fast for what I normally sing, but we'll see what we can do. I set upon the sea to search for phantom sails of tales me mum told me. A ghostly galleon filled with gold she sails alone. No crew or captain's guiding hand can tame the one the sailors call the Shadow. Sun and horizon met. I weighed the anchor, hoist the sails, my course was set. My cutthroat crew conspiring with the stars our guide. They point the way through perils fraught and lead us to the one they call the Shadow. No one can tame the sailor. No, none can tame the one the sailors call the Shadow. Lean left, hard right, hold tightly to her helm, she'll try to drown you just for spite. Heave ho till first light. She'll give a fight to all who try to claim the Shadow. None can tame the one the sailors call the Shadow.
A mighty tempest grew. The banshee cried, turn back, but our resolve was true. We pointed bow ahead and shouted, we'll break through. The jaws of hell can't hold us back. There's nothing that can keep us from the shadow. The winds blew stronger still. The ocean raged against us, tried to break our will. The sirens in the water, thirsty for the kill. Our vessel reeling to and fro, to bear us to the one they call the shadow. None can keep us from the one they call the shadow. Lean left, hard right. Hold tightly to her helm, she'll try to drown you just for spite. Heave ho, till first light. She'll give a fight to all who try to claim the shadow. None can tame the one the sailors call the shadow. As we approached her shell, the skies went silent, seas went calm as if by spell. No sign of fight or flight were in her, all was well. Until I tried to take her helm. Her rigging came alive, she hung my crew before me. She stole my sight and cursed me captain of the shadow. She took my eyes and cursed me captain of the shadow. Lean left, hard right, steer clear of her, I feel she'll eat your soul, she'll take your life. Heave ho, till first light. She'll claim the soul of those who tried to tame the shadow. None can tame the one the sailors call the shadow. None can tame the one the sailors call the shadow. Saturn, hello! Gigi, Kitty, welcome back. Good to see you. No waffles today. We were doing some songs, and now we're about to move on to Chapter 4 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Let's get the music back going for the ambience. Captain Harry, your full message isn't showing up for some reason, unless I long press it. But your question, no. I live in a different building on a property, but I come in their house, the main house, to either spend time with him in this case I'm cooking. Ah, I see. We've made it our mission to fluster you as much as possible, which is fair enough. Lorraine, cheers, I'm glad you enjoyed. Saturn, you just graduated college, congratulations. It's a hell of a feat. Thank you, Frost and Teresa, for letting us know that the ads are all done over on Twitch. Although, are they done? I get who knows. What did you go to school for, Saturn? I'm not a huge advocate of university myself. I spent 10 years in university, and while some jobs require them as degrees, I always recommend learning useful skills. But some degrees are very, very valuable. A politician and a journalist. So for political science and journalism, it's a hell of a combination. Thank you, Quirt, for the drink, my friend. I appreciate it. I'll take another one. Here. You may have missed it, Castle, but you're laughing. I replied, you're welcome. Thank you, I appreciate it. But I love the people that come in and get me going on my book. Only Erin to shout spoilers. It is nice to do these. That was a great honor. Well, Lorraine, I'm glad you enjoyed yourself. Well, congratulations, Saturn. That's a hell of a lot of work. You should be proud of yourself for the effort that you put in and for succeeding in following through on it. So good for you. Good job. Cindy, thanks for the songs. Thank you for enjoying them with us, Cindy. I appreciate you for it. All right, kids. Let us get back into the world of Harry Potter. We're going to go back in to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Chapter 4, The Seven Potters.
And I have a master's degree, and I'm the first person to graduate college in my family. Hell yes. Absolutely exceptional. That is a lot of work. Good job sticking to it. Like I said, I finished almost 10 years of university, and I actually left university before I finished my master's degree. It wouldn't have been worth much to me anyways. It was an English degree, but they wanted. I became disillusioned with academia after 10 years of school. So part of it was my fault. Part of it was the school's. Alright, kids, let's continue. Chapter 4 The Seven Potters. Harry ran back upstairs to his bedroom, arriving at the window just in time to see the Dursleys' car swing out of the drive and off up the road. Daedalus's top hat was visible between Aunt Petunia and Dudley in the back seat. The car turned right at the end of Privet Drive. Its windows burned scarlet for a moment in the now setting sun. I also want to remind everybody, this is my first time reading the seventh book. I have never opened the seventh book, I haven't seen the seventh films, and I've never read the seventh book. This is my first time reading through it. If you can get past what happens to Hedwig, that'd be great, so I can stop dreading. Alright, well that's foreboding. Esther, hello and good evening. I'm so very glad that you could join us. And, well, I guess I'll wait for you to come back. Says I'll come back later, my comment will be buried being a ghost. It is true. Since you have assigned yourself as ghost, it makes you harder to see. You're sort of opaque and transparent. Alright. Harry picked up Hedwig's cage, his firebolt, and his rucksack, gave his unnaturally tidy bedroom one last sweeping look, and then made his ungainly way back downstairs to the hall, where he deposited the cage, broom, and stick and bag near the foot of the stairs. The light was fading rapidly now, the hall full of shadows in the evening light. It felt most strange to stand here in the silence and know that he was about to leave this house for the last time. Long ago, when he'd been left alone while the Dursleys were out to enjoy themselves, the hours of solitude had been a rare treat. Pausing only to sneak something tasty from the fridge, he had rushed upstairs to play on Dudley's computer or to put on the television and flick through the channels to his heart's content. It gave him an odd, empty feeling to remember those times. It was like remembering a younger brother whom he had lost. It's alright. Bethany, I'm not going to be commenting much. I'm just listening on my drive home. Drive safe, Tyson, alright? Just drive safe. You haven't seen the movie? I thought you said you knew. I do know it's coming. I do know what happens because I've had it spoiled for me, but I've never watched the film and I've never read the book, Belinda. I haven't read. I have not read. It's alright, you don't have to worry about spoilers for me. I don't rightly care about spoilers. If a story is well written, I can know exactly what's going to happen and I'll still have the same enjoyment of it as I would if I didn't know. So, I know certain things that happen in the story. I didn't know that. I didn't know that something happened to Hedwig, but it's no surprise. There's a lot of tragedy that happens in the last book. So, yeah, no, I didn't watch either of the two. I've seen clips from them, but I didn't watch the movies. Yeah, by the time I got to book and film 7, I was completely disillusioned with the series, so I didn't watch or read the book. I was very disappointed in how the characters were being treated in book 6, so I never did that. You missed one chapter, Esther, but it wasn't a terribly important chapter. It was a sentimental sort of chapter, but you didn't miss a whole lot. This next chapter coming up. Yeah, I don't mind spoilers either. Yeah, if the story is good, then I will enjoy it regardless. That's how I've always approached things. I don't much care for spoilers. I don't even get as excited. Like, I will get the same level of excited about it, maybe even more excited about a thing if I know it's going to happen. Well, now it's time for a movie marathon. We could marathon the Harry Potter movies over in the guild for Halloween if you guys wanted to. We're gonna do some watch days for Over the Garden Wall. We're gonna watch some more Freerun at some point soon, and then we're also going to uh do some like Samhain movie times. I love knowing that things are going to happen because then I get to read how they happen. Yeah, it's almost like more exciting when you know what's coming. For me, I know some people like the surprise of it, but for me, that's like building a house. That's just like building an entire house, just so you can see it done, and then you don't enjoy any of the nuance of like the built house. I don't know. That's not a good metaphor, but it's I enjoy the whole process of getting there more than I enjoy the final product. Is I guess what I'm saying. I like to see the whole process of the hot dog being made, if you will. Surprises are my favorite. I love getting hit with a curveball in books. Yeah, and I find that they're like probably the majority of folk like to have things surprised for them in stories. So I think I'm the odd one. I think I'm the weird one there. I've reread books multiple times, even knowing the ending is enjoyable. Sometimes you get more. Yeah, well, and obviously you guys know that I love to pick apart a story. I'll pick apart a story until it's dead. I'm like a buzzard with stories. If you guys have been paying attention to all of the stuff we've made about K-pop demon hunters, the lady and I have absolutely tore that story apart. I prefer spoilers actually, so I don't have to waste my time on a bad story. That's fair, Kristalla. That's fair. Because to be fair, there are more bad stories being made today than there are good. So it is very easy to waste your time on a story that just turns out to be utterly lackluster. I love how I wrote Breed in chapter 4 of my book. Literally, Chaos Goblin meets Loving Bestie meets Gossip Drinker. Sounds about right. The first of men who like spoilers. Yeah, I don't even know if I would say that I like. My enjoyment of a story comes from the story itself. So if I know something is going to happen, then yeah, especially if it's a good one. Like if I know something amazing is going to happen. One of the reasons I stopped watching, this is an anime thing, so some of you probably won't even care about this, but I stopped watching Attack on Titan, which is one of the most popular animes of today, and it's very, very widely raved as being spectacular. Is I got the ending spoiled for me, and I got a bunch of stuff in between spoiled for me, and it's just it was the same problem, the same complaint I had about that thing, that book, or that show. The same problem that I was currently having with it continues on all the way to the ending gets worse. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I don't mind a spoiler unless I genuinely want to be surprised, like Borderlands 4. Yeah, the lady was saying you were very excited about Borderlands 4, Matty. Disillusioned is my favorite word for tonight. I've been disillusioned with Gearbox's stuff since Borderlands 3, I guess. Yeah, I haven't watched the last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones, because I knew what was going to happen. I'm like, yeah, I don't spoil it all, but the little tidbits are like breadcrumbs that lead me through the story. Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, I'm gonna get back to reading. I'm getting too into the waffling conversation. Let's go. Don't you want to take a last look at the place? He asked Hedwig, who was still soaking her head under her wing. We'll never be here again. Don't you want to remember all the good times? I mean, look at this doormat. What memories? Dudley puked on it after I saved him from the Dementors. Turns out he was grateful after all, can you believe it? And last summer Dumbledore walked through that front door. Harry lost the thread of his thoughts for a moment, and Hedwig did nothing to help him retrieve it, but continued to sit with her head under her wing. Harry turned his back on the front door. And under here, Hedwig. Harry pulled the door open under the stairs. Is where I used to sleep. You never knew me then. Blimey, it's small. I'd forgotten. Harry looked around at the stacked shoes and umbrellas under, remembering how he used to wake up every morning, look up at the underside of the staircase, which was more often than not adorned with a spider or two. Those had been the days before he'd known anything about his true identity. Before he'd found out how his parents had died, or why such strange things often happened around him. But Harry could still remember the dreams that had dogged him. Even in those days, confused dreams involving flashes of green light, and once Uncle Vernon had nearly crashed the car when Harry recounted it. A flying motorbike. There was a sudden deafening roar from somewhere nearby. Harry straightened up with a jerk and smacked the top of his head on the low door frame. Pausing only to employ a few of Uncle Vernon's choicest swear words, he staggered back into the kitchen, clutching his head, and staring out the window into the back garden. The darkness seemed to be rippling, and the air itself quivering. Then, one by one, figures began to pop into sight, as their disillusionment charms lifted. Dominating the scene as Hagrid, wearing a helmet and goggles, was sitting astride his enormous motorbike, with a black sidecar attached. All around him, other people were dismounting from brooms and, in two cases, skeletal black-winged horses. Wrenching open the back door, Harry hurtled into their midst. There was a general cry of greeting as Hermione flung her arms around him. Ron clapped him on the back, and Hagrid said, "All right, Harry. Ready for the off?" "Definitely," said Harry, beaming around at them all. "But I wasn't expecting this many of you."
Change of plans?
Hang on.
Change of plans?
Growled Mad-Eye, who was holding two enormous bulging sacks, and whose magical eye was spinning from the darkening sky to the house to garden with dizzying rapidity.
Let's get under cover before we talk you through it.
Harry led them all back into the kitchen where, laughing and chattering, they settled on the chairs, sat themselves upon Aunt Petunia's gleaming work surfaces, or leaned up against her spotless appliances. Ron, long and lanky, Hermione, her bushy hair tied back into a long plait, Fred and George grinning identically, Bill badly scarred and long-haired, Mr. Weasley kind-faced and balding, his spectacles a little awry, Mad-Eye battle-worn, one-legged, his bright blue eye magical and whizzing in its socket. Tonks, whose short hair was her favourite shade of bright pink, and Lupin, greyer, more lined. Fleur, slender and beautiful, with her long silvery blonde hair. Kingsley, bold, black, broad-shouldered. Hagrid, with his wild hair and beard, standing hunchbacked to avoid hitting his head on the ceiling. And Mundungus Fletcher, small, dirty, and hangdog, with his droopy basset hound's eyes and matted hair. And his heart seemed to expand and glow at the sight. He felt incredibly fond of all of them, even Mundungus, whom he had tried to strangle the last time they had met. Love waffles. Kingsley, I thought you were looking after the Muggle Prime Minister, he called across the room.
He can get along for one night, said Kingsley. You're more important.
Harry, guess what?
Said Tonks from her perch atop the washing machine. She wiggled her left hand, a ring glittered there.
You got married!
Harry yelped, looking from her to Lupin.
I'm sorry you couldn't be there, Harry. It was very quiet. That's brilliant. Congratulations.
All right. We'll have time to cozy up and catch up later,
roared Moody. Over the hubbub and silence fell in the kitchen.
Moody dropped his sack at his feet and turned to Harry. As Daedalus probably told you, we had to abandon Planet A. Pious thickness has gone over, which gives us a big problem. He made an imprisonable offence to connect this house to the Flu network. Place a portkey here, or operate in or out. All done in the name of your protection, to prevent you-know-who from getting in at you. Absolutely pointless, seeing as your mother's charm does that already. What he's really done is stop you get out of here safely. Second, you're underage. That means you've still got the trace on you.
I don't...
The trace, said Mad-Eye impatiently. The charm that detects magical activity around under 17s. The way the Ministry finds out about underage magic. If you or anyone around you casts a spell to get you out of here, Thickness is going to know about it. And so will the Death Eaters. We can't wait for the trace to break, because the moment you turn 17, you'll lose all protection your mother gave you. In short, Pious Thickness thinks he's got you cornered good and proper.
Harry could not help but agree with the unknown Thickness. So what are we going to do?
We're going to use the only means of transport left to us. The only ones the trace can't detect. Because we don't need to cast spells to use them. Brooms, Thestrals, and Hagrid's motorbike.
Harry could see flaws in this plan, however. He held his tongue to give Mad-Eye a chance to address them.
Now, your mother's charm will only break under 2 conditions. When you come of age, or,
where he gestured around the pristine kitchen,
you no longer call this place home. You and your aunt and your uncle are going your separate ways tonight, in full understanding that you're never going to live here again, correct?
Harry nodded.
So this time, when you leave, there'll be no going back, and the charm will break the moment you get outside its range. We're choosing to break it early, because the alternative is to wait for you-know-who to come and seize you the moment you turn 17. The one thing we've got on our side is that you-know-who doesn't know we're moving you tonight. If you've leaked a fake trail to the Ministry, they think you're leaving on the 13th. However, this is you-know-who we're dealing with. So we can't just rely on him getting the date wrong. He's bound to have a couple of Death Eaters patrolling the skies in this general area, just in case. So we've given a dozen different houses every protection we can throw at them. They all look like they could be a place you're going to hide. They've all got some connection to the Order. My house, Kingsley's place, your Aunt Molly, your Auntie Muriel's. You get the idea.
Yeah, said Harry, not entirely truthfully, because he could still spot a gaping hole in the plan.
You'll be going to Tonks's parents. Once you're within the boundaries of the protective enchantments we put on their house, you'll be able to use a portkey to the burrow. Any questions?
Yes, said Harry. Maybe they won't know which of the 12 secure houses I'm heading for at first, but won't it sort of be obvious once he performs a quick head count? 14 of us fly off towards Tonks's parents.
Ah, said Moody. I forgot to mention that key point. 14 of us won't be flying to Tonks's parents. There'll be 7 Harry Potters moving through the skies tonight. Each one of them with a companion, each pair heading to a different house.
From the inside of his cloak, Moody withdrew a flask of what looked like mud. There was no need for him to say another word. Harry understood the rest of the plan immediately. No, he said loudly, his voice ringing through the kitchen. No way. I told them you'd take it like this, said Hermione with a hint of complacency. If you think I'm going to let 6 people risk their lives. Because it's a first time for all of us, said Ron. This is different, pretending to be me. Well, none of us is really fancy it. Well, none of us really fancy it, Harry,
said Fred earnestly. Imagine if something went wrong and we was stuck as specky and scrawny gits forever. Harry did not smile. You can't do it if I don't cooperate. You need me to give you some hair. Well, that plan's scuppered, said George. Obviously, there's no chance of all of us getting a bit of your hair unless you cooperate. Yeah, 13 of us and one bloke who's not allowed to use magic. We got no chance, said Fred. Funny, said Harry. Really amusing. If it has come to force, then it will, growled Moody, his magical eye now quivering a little in its socket as he glared at Harry. Everyone here's overreach, Potter, and they'll all be prepared to take the risk. Mundungus shrugged and grimaced. The magical eye swerved sideways to glare at him out of the side of Moody's head. So no more arguments. Time's wearing on. I want a few of your hairs, boy. Now. But this is mad. There's no need. No need, snarled Moody. With you know who out there and half the ministry on his side. Potter, if we're lucky, he'll have swallowed the fake bait. I'll be planning to ambush you on the 13th. But he'd be mad not to have a Death Eater or two keeping an eye out. It's what I'd do. There might not be able to get you at you or this house while your mother's term holds, but it's about to break, and they know the opposition of this place. Our only chance is to use decoys, even if you know who can't split himself into 7. Harry caught Hermione's eye and looked away at once. So, Potter, some of your hair, please. Harry glanced at Ron, who grimaced at him in a just-do-it sort of way. No! Barked Moody. With all eyes upon Harry, he reached up to the top of his head, grabbed a hank of hair and pulled. Good, said Moody, limping forward and pulling the stopper out of the flask. Straight in here, if you please. Harry dropped the hair into the mud-like liquid. The moment it made contact with its surface, the potion began to froth and smoke. Then, all at once, it turned a clear, bright gold.
Oh, you look much tastier than Crab and Goyle, Harry,
said Hermione, before catching sight of Ron's raised eyebrow, blushing slightly and saying,
Oh, you know what I mean. Goyle's potion looked like bogies.
Right, Fate Potters, line up over here, please, said Moody. Ron, Hermione, Fred, George and Fleur lined up in front of Aunt Petunia's gleaming seek. We're one short, said Lupin. Here, said Hagrid gruffly, and he lifted Mundungus by the scruff of his neck and dropped him down beside Fleur, who wrinkled her nose pointedly and moved along to stand between Fred and George instead. I told you, I'd say to be a protector, said Mundungus. So it, growled Moody. As I've already told you, you spineless worm, any Death Eater we run into will be aiming to capture Potter, not kill him. Dumbledore's always said you know who would want to finish Harry Potter in person. It'll be the protectors we've got most to worry about. Death Eaters will want to kill them. Mundungus did not look particularly reassured, but Moody was already pulling half a dozen egg-sized glasses from inside of his cloak, which he handed out before pouring a little of the polyjuice potion into each one. Not so much anymore, Quirt, but yes, it is something that Brits do say. This is one of my favourite scenes. I only know the books from Castle reading them, and the movies one, not really a fan. I get double meaning as an adult. Volume up, please, Castle. Yep, I assume you mean on the microphone. Try not to blow out anybody's eardrums. Alright, where was I? Mundungus did not look particularly reassured, but Moody was already pulling half a dozen egg-sized glasses from inside of his claw, which he handed out before pouring a little polyjuice potion into each one. All together then. Ron, Hermione, Fred, George, Fleur, and Mundungus drank. All of them gasped and grimaced as the potion hit their throats. At once their features began to bubble and distort like hot wax. Hermione and Mundungus were shooting upward. Ron, Fred, and George were shrinking, and their hair was darkening. Hermione's and Fleur's appearing to shoot backwards into their skulls. Moody, quite unconcerned, was now loosening the ties of the large sacks that he had brought with him. When he straightened up again, there were 6 Harry Potters gasping and panting in front of him. Fred and George turned to each other and said, "Wow, we're identical." "I don't know. No, I think I'm still better looking," said Fred, examining his reflection in the kettle. "Bah," said Fleur, checking herself in the microwave door. "Bill, do not look at me, I am hideous." Those whose clothes are a bit roomy have got smaller hair," said Moody, indicating the first sack, "and vice versa. Don't forget the glasses, 6 pairs, and the side pocket. And when you're dressed, there's luggage in the other sack." The real Harry thought that this might be the most bizarre thing he'd ever seen, and he'd seen some extremely odd things. He watched his 6 doppelgangers rummage in the sacks, pulling out sets of clothes, putting on glasses, stuffing their own things away. He felt like asking them to show a little more respect for his privacy as they all began stripping off with impunity, clearly much more at ease with displaying his body than they would have been with their own. "I know Jenny was lying about that tattoo," said Ron, looking down at his bare chest. "Harry, your eyesight is really awful," said Hermione as she put on glasses. Once dressed with fake Harrys, the fake Harrys took rucksacks and owl cages, each containing a stuffed snowy owl, from the second sack. "Good," said Moody as the last 7 dressed, bespectacled and luggage-laden Harrys faced him. "The pairs will be as follows. Mundungus will be travelling with me by broom." What am I with you?" grunted the Harry nearest the back door. "'Cause you're the one that needs watching," growled Moody, and sure enough, his magical eye did not waver from Mundungus as he continued. "Arthur and Fred." "I'm George," said the twin whom Moody was pointing at. "Can't you even tell us apart when we're Harry?" "Sorry, George." "I'm only yanking you on. I'm Fred, really." "Enough messing around," snarled Moody. "The other one, George, Fred, or whoever you are. You're with Remus, Miss Delacour." "I'm taking Flora on a thestral," said Bill. "She's not that fond of brooms." Flo walked over to stand beside him, giving him a soppy, slavish look that Harry hoped with all his heart would never appear on his face again. "Miss Granger and with Kingsley again by thestral." Hermione looked reassured as she answered Kingsley's smile. Harry knew that Hermione too lacked confidence on a broomstick. "Which leaves you and me, Ron," said Tonks brightly, knocking over a mug. Trees, she waved at him. Ron did not look quite as pleased as Hermione. "And you're with me, Harry? That's all right," said Hagrid, looking a little anxious. "We'll be on my bike. Brooms and testrals can't take me weight, see? Not a lot of room, and the seat with me on it, no. So you'll be in the sidecar." "That's great," said Harry, not altogether truthfully. "We think the Death Eaters will expect you to be on a broom," said Moody, who seemed to guess how Harry was feeling. "Snape's had plenty of time to tell them everything about you he's never mentioned before. So if we do run into Death Eaters, we're betting they'll choose one of the Potters who look at home on a broomstick. All right then.
He went on, tying up the sack with the fake Potter's clothes in it, and leading the way back to the door.
I may get 3 minutes until we're supposed to leave. No point locking the back door. It won't keep Death Eaters out when they're coming looking. Come on.
Harry hurried into the hall to fetch his rucksack, firebolt, and Hedwig's cage, before joining the others in the back garden. On every side, broomsticks were leaping into hands. Harry had already been helped up onto the great black thestral by... Hermione had already been helped up onto the great black thestral by Kingsley, floored onto the other by Bill. Hagrid was standing ready beside the motorbike, goggles on. Is this it? Is this Sirius's bike?
The very same,
said Hagrid, beaming down at Harry.
And last time, you was on it, Harry. I could fit you in one hand.
Harry could not help but feel a little humiliated as he got into the sidecar. It placed him several feet below everybody else. Ron smirked to the sight of him sitting there like a child in a bumper car, and Harry stuffed his rucksack and broom down by his feet and rammed Hedwig's cage between his knees. It was extremely uncomfortable. I used to buy 2 books because me and my boyfriend used to race and read it. He had to finish reading the books before he passed away. He got to finish. I'm not sure I understand what you mean. Are you saying that your significant other passed away, Cindy? If so, I'm sorry to hear that. I forgot Hermione and Ron were older than Harry. Yes, just by a bit. If I saw 7 Me's undressing, I'd die of embarrassment, sending up the Death Eater mark to end it all. Right, let us continue.
Arthur done a bit of tinkering,
said Hagrid, quite oblivious to Harry's discomfort. He settled himself astride the motorcycle, which creaked slightly and sank inches into the ground.
It's got a few tricks up its handlebars now. That one was my idea.
He pointed a thick finger at the purple button near the speedometer.
Please be careful, Hagrid,
said Mr. Weasley, who was standing beside them, holding his broomstick.
I'm not sure that was advisable. It's certainly only to be used in emergencies. Right then, said Moody. Have you done ready now, please? I want us all to leave at the exact same time, or the whole point of the diversion's lost.
Everybody mounted their brooms.
Hold on tight now, Ron,
said Tonks, and Harry saw Ron throw a furtive, guilty look at Lupin before placing his hands on either side of her waist. Hagrid kicked the motorbike into life, roaring like a dragon, and the sidecar began to vibrate.
Good luck, everyone, Moody shouted. See you all in about an hour at the burrow. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
There was a great roar from the motorbike, and Harry felt the sidecar give a nasty lurch. It was rising through the air fast, his eyes watering slightly, hair whipping back off of his face. Around him, brooms were soaring upward too, the long black tail of a thestral flicked past. His legs jammed into the sidecar by Hedwig's cage, and his rucksack were already sore and starting to go numb. So great was his discomfort that he almost forgot to take a last glimpse at number 4 Privet Drive. By the time he looked over the edge of the sidecar, he could no longer tell which one it was. Higher and higher they climbed into the sky. My boyfriend passed away, and he got to finish the books before he passed. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That's always dreadful to lose someone we love and care about. But that is a lovely thing that he got to finish the books before he passed away. We'll be back soon, little sis. is done work, thank you. All right, take care, Lorraine. We should be on for about another hour or so. Probably about another 40 minutes or so. So just be careful and be safe. All right, where was I? And then out of nowhere, out of nothing, they were surrounded. At least 30 hooded figures suspended in midair formed a vast circle in the midst of which the Order members had risen. Oblivious, screams, a blaze of green light on every side. Hagrid gave a yell and the motorbike rolled over. Harry lost any sense of where they were. Streetlights above, yells around him, clinging to the sidecar for dear life. Hedwig's cage, the firebolt in his rucksack, slipped from beneath his knees. No! Hedwig! The broomstick spun to the earth, but he just managed to seize the strap on his rucksack and the top of the cage as the motorbike swung right way up. Again, a second's relief, and then another burst of green light. The owl screeched and fell to the floor of the cage. No! No! The motorbike zoomed forward, Harry glimpsed hooded Death Eaters scattering as Hagrid blasted through their circle. Hedwig! Hedwig! But the owl lay motionless and pathetic as a toy on the floor of her cage. He could not take it in, and his terror for the others was paramount. He glanced over his shoulder and saw a mass of people moving. Flares of green light, 2 pairs of people on brooms soaring off into the distance, but he could not tell who they were. Hagrid! We've got to go back! We've got to go back! He yelled over the thunderous roar of the engine, pulling out his wand and ramming Hedwig's cage onto the floor, refusing to believe that she was dead. Hagrid, turn around! My job's to get you there safe, Harry! Bellowed Hagrid, and he opened up the throttle. Stop! Stop! Harry shouted, but as he looked back, again 2 jets of green light flew past his left ear. 4 Death Eaters had broken away from the circle and were pursuing them. Aiming for Hagrid's broad back, Hagrid swerved, but the Death Eaters were keeping up with the bike. More curses shot after them. Harry had to sink low into the sidecar to avoid them. Wriggling, he cried, Stupefy! The red bolt shot from his own wand, cleaving a gap between the 4 pursuing Death Eaters, as they scattered to avoid it. Hold on, Harry! This'll do 'em in for! Roared Hagrid, and Harry looked up just in time to see Hagrid slamming his thick finger into a green button near the fuel gauge. A solid brick wall erupted out of the exhaust pipe. Craning his neck, Harry saw it expanded into midair. 3 of the Death Eaters swerved to avoid it, but the 4th was not so lucky. He vanished from view and then dropped like a boulder from behind it, his broomstick broken into pieces. One of his fellows slowed up to save him, but they and the airborne wall were swallowed up by darkness as Hagrid leaned low over the handlebars and sped up. More killing curses flew past Harry's head from the 2 remaining Death Eaters' wands. They were aiming for Hagrid. Harry responded with further stunning spells. Red and green collided in midair in a shower of multicolored sparks. Harry thought wildly of fireworks and the muggles below, who would have no idea what was happening. Here we go again, Harry! Hold on! Yelled Hagrid as he jabbed the second button. This time, a great net burst from the bike's exhaust, but the Death Eaters were ready for it. Not only did they swerve to avoid it, but the companion who had slowed to save their conscious friend had caught up. He bloomed suddenly out of the darkness. Now 3 of them were pursuing the motorbike, all shooting curses after it. This'll do it, Harry! Hold on tight! Yelled Hagrid, and Harry saw him slam his whole hand onto the purple button beside the speedometer. With an unmistakable billowing roar, dragonfire burst from the exhaust. White, hot and blue, the motorbike shot forward like a bullet with a sound of wrenching metal. Harry saw the Death Eaters swerve out of sight to avoid the deadly trail of flame, and at the same time felt the sidecar sway ominously. Its metal connection to the bike had splintered with the force of the acceleration. It's all right, Harry! Bellowed Hagrid, now thrown flat onto his back,
by the surge of speed. Nobody was steering now, and the sidecar started to twist violently in the bike's slipstream. "I'm on it, Harry! Don't worry!" Hagrid yelled, and from inside his jacket he pulled his flowery pink umbrella. "Hagrid, no! Let me! Reparo!" And there was a deafening bang, and the sidecar broke away from the bike completely. Harry sped forward, propelled by the impetus of the bike's flight, and the sidecar began to lose height. In desperation, Harry pointed his wand at the sidecar and shouted, "Wingardium Leviosa!" The sidecar rose like a cork, unsteerable, but at least still airborne. He had but a split-second relief, however. As more curses streaked past him, the 3 Death Eaters were closing in. "I'm coming, Harry!" Hagrid yelled from out of the darkness, but Harry could feel the sidecar beginning to sink again. Crouching as low as he could, he pointed at the middle oncoming figures and yelled, "Impedimentia!" The jinx hit the middle Death Eater in the chest. For a moment, the man was absurdly spread-eagled in midair, as though he had hit an invisible barrier. One of his fellows almost collided with him. Then the sidecar began to fall in earnest. The remaining Death Eater shot a curse so close to Harry that he had to duck below the rim of the sidecar, knocking a tooth on the edge of the seat. "I'm coming, Harry, I'm coming!" A huge hand seized the back of Harry's robes and hoisted him out of the plummeting sidecar. Harry pulled his rucksack with him as he dragged himself onto the motorbike seat and found himself back to back with Hagrid. As they soared upward, away from the 2 remaining Death Eaters, Harry spat out blood from his mouth. He pointed his wand at the falling sidecar and yelled, "Confrigo!" He knew a dreadful gut-wrenching pang for Hedwig as it exploded. The Death Eater nearest it was blasted off his broom and fell from sight. His companion fell back and vanished. "Harry! I'm sorry! I'm sorry!" moaned Hagrid. "I should have tried to repair it myself. You got no room?" "It's not a problem. Just keep flying," Harry shouted back, as 2 more Death Eaters emerged out of the darkness, drawing closer. As the curses came shooting across the intervening space between, Hagrid swerved and zigzagged. Harry knew that Hagrid did not dare use the dragon fire button again. With Harry seated so insecurely, Harry sent stunning spell after stunning spell back at their pursuers. Barely holding them off, he shot another blocking jinx at them. The closest Death Eater swerved to avoid it, and his hood slipped. By the light of his stunning spell, Harry saw a strangely blank face of Stanley Shunpike. Stan. "Spelliarmus!" Harry yelled. "That's him! It's the real one!" The hooded Death Eater's shout reached Harry, even above the thunder of the motorbike's engine. The next moment, both pursuers had fallen back and disappeared from view. "Harry! What's happened?" bellowed Hagrid. "Where have they gone?" "I don't know." But Harry was afraid. The hooded Death Eater had shouted, "It's the real one!" How had he known? He gazed around and at the apparently empty darkness and felt its menace. Where were they? He clambered around on the seat to face forward and seized hold of Hagrid's jacket. "Hagrid, do the dragonfire thing again. Let's get out of here." "Hold on tight then, Harry." There was a deafening screeching roar again, and white-blue fire shot from the exhaust. Harry felt himself slipping backward off the little seat he had, and Hagrid flung backward upon him, barely maintaining his grip on the handlebars. "I think we lost him, Harry. I think we done it," yelled Hagrid, but Harry was not convinced. Fear lapped at him as he looked left and right for the pursuers he was sure would come. Why had they fallen back? One of them still had a wand. It's him. It's the real one. They had said it right after he'd tried to disarm Stan. "We're nearly there, Harry. We nearly made it," shouted Hagrid. Harry felt the bike drop a little, though the lights down on the ground still seemed remote as stars. Then the scar on his forehead burned like fire. As the Death Eater appeared on either side of the bike, 2 killing curses missed Harry by millimeters, cast from behind. And then Harry saw him. Voldemort was flying like smoke on the wind, without a broomstick or thestral to hold him, his snake-like face gleaming out of the blackness, his white fingers raising his wand again. Harry let out a bellow of fear and steered the motorbike into a vertical dive. Clinging on for dear life, Harry sensed stunning spells flying at random into the whirling night. He saw a body fly past him, and he knew he'd hit one of them. But then he heard the bang and saw the sparks from the engine. The motorbike spiraled through the air, completely out of control. Green jets of light shot past them again. Harry had no idea which way was up, which way was down. His scar was still burning. He expected to die at any second. A hooded figure on a broomstick was feet from him. He saw it raise its arm. No! With a shout of fury, Hagrid launched himself off the bike at the Death Eater. To his horror, Harry saw that both Hagrid and the Death Eater falling out of sight, their combined weight too much for the broomstick. Barely gripping the plummeting bike with his knees, Harry heard Voldemort scream, "Mine!" It was over. He could not see or hear Voldemort where he was. He glimpsed another Death Eater sweeping out of the way and heard, "Avada!" As the pain from Harry's scar forced his eyes shut, his wand acted of its own accord. He felt it drag his hand around like some great magnet, and saw a spurt of golden fire through his half-closed eyelids. Heard a crack and a scream of fury. The remaining Death Eater yelled. Voldemort screamed, "No!" Somehow Harry found his nose an inch from the dragonfire button. He punched it with his free hand, and the bike shot flames into the air, hurtling straight towards the ground. "Hagrid!" Harry called, holding the bike for dear life. "Hagrid! Accio Hagrid!" The motorbike sped up, sucked towards the earth. Face level with the handlebars, Harry could see nothing but the distant lights growing nearer and nearer. He was going to crash, and there was nothing he could do about it. Behind him came another scream. "Your wand! Selwyn, give me your wand!" He felt Voldemort before he saw him. Looking sideways, he stared into the red eyes, and was sure that they were the last thing he would ever see. Voldemort preparing to curse him once more. And then Voldemort vanished. Harry looked down and saw Hagrid's spread eagle on the ground below him. He pulled hard on the handlebars to avoid hitting him, groped for the brake, and with an ear-splitting, ground-trembling crash, he smashed into a muddy pond. And so ends Chapter 4 of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Yeah, I don't think that I knew that Hedwig died in this one. That's a hell of a thing to start the book out with, though. Jonas, hello, welcome in, my friends. So glad to see you. Welcome, welcome. Let me see. We are on 45. I don't think we have time for another chapter tonight, sadly. Because the next one's, it's 15 pages. 15 pages would take us about 45 minutes to read. Damn, I have missed a bit today. You're reading on a completely different account, Ghost Esther. Thank you for reading, Castle. Good night, everyone. No, that's too much suspense. Well, we have to come back next Thursday. And, find out what happens to Hagrid. I mean, it's pretty easy to find out. You guys can all find out. But if you want to find out what happens here in the tavern, we'll have to come back next Thursday. Because yeah, we're on 2 hours 30, and I can't be on past 8 tonight. I've still got things that I have to do this evening. So we can do some songs. I know it's so far away.
Jonas, thank you kindly, my friend. We'll see you next week. I don't know if you drop in for the Tuesday stories, but we do Feist on Tuesdays. This is our more adult book. Though, to be fair, killing off probably one of everyone's top 5 favorite characters in chapter 4 is a bit insane. That is wild. But yeah, let's do a couple of songs, and then I'll set you all off. I'm glad that we were able to have a night in the tavern. Me too, Frost. I felt so bad on Thursday because the lady had told me to switch to the other magic box so that I could do it, and I thought that I would be able to get it fixed quick enough that it wouldn't be a problem, and the repair just kept taking longer and longer and longer, and by the time I realized how late it was going to be, it was already very, very late. Killing one of the top favorite characters in this book. I mean, everybody loves Hedwig. Like, there's no debate with anyone that Hedwig is probably one of the favorite figures in all of Harry Potter. She's so sassy and beloved. I agree. I think we do need some happy songs after that. Thank you, Frost. I appreciate it. We'll snooze them. Since we're going to sing a couple of songs, I'm gonna send you guys off. We'll try to get through the songs without you guys having to watch any more ads. Good night, Cindy. Thank you for sharing your story with us, love. I appreciate that. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. The lady will see you all on Sunday. I will see you on Sunday for waffles, probably. And then on Tuesday, we'll be carrying on with more of A Darkness at Sethenon by Feist. So let's go ahead and get a couple of songs. So we said happy songs. What is a good happy song, friends? And then we'll raid out to friends on Twitch. What's a good happy song? Most of the happy songs in Irish ballads are. We can do Irish pub song. That's a good one. Yeah, Irish pub song's a happy song. The song that never ends. I hear it goes on and on, my friend. Indeed it does, Matty. Indeed it does. Let's see. We can do the. Yeah, we can do the Irish pub song. And then, you know what? Let's do another drinking song. We'll do The Juice of the Barley. I like that one. You want Sick Note, Bethany? Yeah, we can do Sick Note. Why not? Sick Note's not exactly a happy song, but it's got a happy tune. Yeah, I'll be definitely doing a... You very well might... Did you just get back, Milu? Because if so, yes, you did miss the second chapter. And it was a doozy. It was a hell of a chapter. Yeah, I'm gonna do as much of A Darkness at Sethenon as I can on Tuesday, because we missed this week. Good night, Frost. Rest well, my friend. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for tending bar. I appreciate you, brother. It is deeply appreciated. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and pause the music, and then we'll do, let's see, we'll do the Irish pub song, and then we'll do a Sick Note. We need to cheer up. Actually, let's do Sick Note first, then we'll do Irish pub. Sick Note's a little bit faster. There we go. Alright, for anybody who doesn't know this song is called The Sick Note. It's also been known as My Paddy's Not at Work Today, the Bricklayer song, Dear Boss, Paddy and the Beirut and Murphy and the Bricks. And it is a song in the wonderful tradition of Irish songs that sings happily about sad things, or sadly about happy things, as we do tend to do. Yeah, no, Susan, I didn't know that Hedwig died. That was all brand new to me. I didn't know. Dark humor is still, but I agree. Dark humor is my favorite sort of humor. I need to go and learn it. I need to go and learn it. The Ghost Esther is back. Not outside of Ghost Esther. We've got Ghost Esther in more appropriately. All right. One day I might get my song. I will. I'll do my best to remember to look it up this weekend, Teresa, and we'll. My mother said you have a lovely voice. We'll tell your mother I said thank you very much. I appreciate you for that. It's a kind compliment. All right. We have the sick note. Dear sir, I write this note to you to tell you of me plight, for at the time of writing I am not a pretty sight. Me body is all black and blue, me face a deathly grey. And I write this note to say where Paddy's not at work today. Was working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. To throw them down from such a height was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't very pleased, and being an awkward sod, he says I'd have to cut them down the ladder in me hod. Now, clearing all these bricks by hand, it was so very slow, so I hoisted up a barrel and secured the rope below. But in me haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks was heavier than me. So when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I started up instead. I shot up like a rocket till to my dismay I found that halfway up I met the bloody barrel coming down. Now the barrel broke me shoulder, it's to the ground it sped, and when I reached the top I banged the pulley with me head. I clung on tightly, dumb with shock from this almighty blow, as the barrel spilled out half the bricks some 14 floors below. Now when these bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then outweighed the barrel and so started down once more. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I fell towards the ground. When half Still clinging tightly to the rope, me body. I don't know what's happening with my throat right now. Hang on. Oh. Still clinging tightly to the rope, me body racked with pain. When halfway down, I met the bloody barrel once again. As I lay there, the force of this collision halfway up the office block caused multiple abrasions and a nasty state of shock. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I fell towards the ground and landed on the broken bricks the barrel scattered round. As I lay there groaning on the ground, I thought I'd passed the worst, but the barrel hit the pulley wheel and then the bottom burst. A shower of bricks rained down on me, I hadn't got a hope. As I lay there bleeding on the ground, I let go the bloody rope. The barrel then being heavier, then started down once more, and landed right across me as I lay upon the floor. It broke 3 ribs in my left arm, and I can only say that we hope you'll understand why Paddy's not at work today. Thank you for the song, my friends. Is it laggy for you? My internet is being a little bit up and down, but everything is running smoothly on my end at the moment. Alright, let's do the Irish pub song next. We can do black as the color too. That one's a little bit more sad, but we can do black as the color. Mac and Cheese It. I don't know if you're actually watching, but thank you for the follow. I like your name. Welcome to the tavern. You've marked us on your map. You should be able to find your way back next time you seek a story. All right. Let us do the Irish pub song. I'm gonna try YouTube instead. All right, let me know if you're having any issues, Tyson. Well, you're walking through a city street, you could be in Peru, and you hear a distant calling, and you know it's meant for you. Then you drop what you are doing, and you join the merry mob, and before you know just where you are, you're in an Irish pub. They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 at him in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. And whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world, you find an Irish pub. Now the design is fairly simple, and it usually works the same. You'll have Razor Houghton scoring in the Ireland-England game, and you know you're in an Irish pub the minute you're in the door, for a couple of boys at Borans will be murdering Christy Moore. They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 of him in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world, you find an Irish pub. Now the owner is Norwegian, and the manager comes from Cork, and the lad is holding up the bar, saying only just work. He was born and bred in Bolton, but his mummy's from Kildare, and he's going to make his fortune soon and move to County Clare. They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 of them in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world, you find an Irish pub. Now it's time for me to go, I have to catch my train. I'll leave you sitting at the bar and face the wind and rain, for I have that pint you owe me, if I'm not gone on the dry, when we meet next week in Frankfurt in the fields of Athenry. They've got one in Honolulu, they've got one in Moscow too. They got 4 at him in Sydney and a couple in Kathmandu. So whether you sing or pull a pint, you'll always have a job, 'cause wherever you go around the world, you find an Irish pub. Oh, wherever you go around the world, you find an Irish pub. I think I know Black is the colour fairly well, Bethany. Paddy is not at work today. I did not initially like this song, but it has grown on me. It's in the hearty tradition of very sarcastic humour songs from Ireland. Enjoyed your edition of the Iron Pub Castle. Thank you. Your performance was excellent. Thank you kindly, Esther. Always happy to entertain. Black Dragon Pub. Something like that. Something like that. Let me see if I can do Black as the Colour. I probably still butchered it, but let's see. I also have a hard time finding like the actual version of it. There are a few versions of it. And one of the issues is that Christy Moore is one of the most famous singers of it, and he sings it different in a bunch of different performances. So let's see. Okay, so I can't find the version that I know, but I'll sing this version that they have here, and we'll see how it goes. Black is the colour of my true love's hair, or just Black is the colour by Christy Moore. Yeah, the Christy Moore one is the one that I know best. The Celtic Thunder one is good, but again they all arrange it a little bit differently. So this is the canon, I guess, version of it from Christy Moore, but it's not the version of it I know, so it makes it a little bit difficult. Black is the colour of my true love's hair. Her lips are like summer roses fair. She has the sweetest smile and the gentlest hands. I love the ground whereon she stands. I love my love, and well she knows. I love the ground whereon she goes. I wish the day it soon would come where she and I could be as one. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like summer roses fair. She has the sweetest smile and the gentlest hand. I love the ground whereon she stands. I go to the Clyde, and I moan and weep, for satisfied I never can be. I write her a letter, just a few short lines, and suffer death 1,000 times. Black is the color of my true love's hair. Her lips are like summer roses fair. She has the sweetest smile and the gentlest hands. I love the ground whereon she stands. The version that I know, the verses are a little bit more spread out than that, but that is the official version by Christy Moore. Oh, I will need to add you and Una on Steam to play with you guys on Borderlands 4. Just checking if I need to or not. I haven't the slightest idea how to do the multiplayer. Probably need to add us on Steam. If the lady is gonna play with you, Matty. Valkyrie love, hello, good to see you. You're coming in at literally the very end. It's always grand to see you anyways. Oh, before I forget, do you know anywhere I can have a plushies made castle? That would be a question for the lady. She's the one who gets all of our merchandise made. I do not know anything of the like. Valkyrie love, how are you and Mason doing? I feel like it's been ages since you and I have spoken. Oh, drat. I thought I was going to get done before the ad break, but I guess I didn't. Sad. Alright, for all of our friends over on TikTok, thank you so much for joining us. TikTok is going to end now, and then for anyone who is watching on Twitch, we're of course going to raid out to share the story. Tellers Tavern Love with other such folks. It's such an enjoyable evening, Castle. Thank you for sharing your talents with us. You flatter me deeply, Belinda. Thank you for brightening up the tavern with your presence. It is deeply appreciated. I love you for it. And thank you kindly for being here. To everyone who is still in over on TikTok, thank you kindly for joining us. We're good though, just doing life and such. Good, I'm glad to hear it. Good night, Esther. Rest well. Have a wonderful, fine evening. And to all of our friends over on TikTok, thank you for joining us. I hope you stay bloodthirsty, my friends, till the very next time we gather here in the tavern. And I will see you then. And for everyone else, I will see you too a little bit later on. Thank you so much for all of the love. It brings great joy to the lady and I to know that you all enjoy your time here in the tavern so much. I will see you all on Sunday. We'll have some waffles, and then we'll join the lady for another story time. Good night, friends. Thank you for joining me. It is deeply appreciated, and I love you for it. and I will see you the next time that you seek a story, my friends. Rest well.